Installing CentOS. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to download and install a very neat tool called Oracle VirtualBox. What VirtualBox does is allows us to create a virtual machine and then install an operating system such as CentOS on it. Now you might be wondering, why do we need to do all of this? Well, if you are serious about using NS3, which I think you are, then you would recall that NS3 runs on a Linux operating system. And of course, most of us have Windows environments. So to be able to run NS3 on a Linux operating system, you will need to actually create a virtual machine so that you can run NS3 within the comfort of your Windows environment. So in this tutorial, we are going to do just that. We're going to create a virtual machine, install CentOS on it, and in a later tutorial, I'll show you how to then go ahead and install Network Simulator 3 and actually get started doing something meaningful with that particular network simulator. So let's get started with this tutorial. In installing CentOS, the first thing you need to do obviously is download the ISO image. So I've provided a link that makes it easy for you to find that image. So what I'm going to do now is show you how to get it. So I've already entered that link in my address bar, and this is the website that allows us to get access to those ISO images. There are many different mirror sites, so I'm going to click on mirrorless, and I got mine from the University of South Florida. So let's look across, and we're going to click on HTTP. It is the 6.4 version, and you want ISO images, and you can click on I386, and we want the DVD ISO. We want this one here. It's about 3.5 gigs. So if you click on it and then you click on save, it will start a download. Alright, so it's downloading right now, and it says it should take 1 hour and 53 minutes. So once you have downloaded it, you can proceed now with the next phase of the installation. So while we are waiting for that ISO image to download, we can go ahead and download and install VirtualBox and the extension pack. So I have provided you with a nice link so that you can easily download those two items. So once you enter that into your web browser, you are going to be presented with this website, and the first thing we want to do is to download VirtualBox for Windows host. So you can save that, and then we want to download the extension pack for all supported platforms. And as you can see, those downloads they're actually quite finished already. So we have those available to us. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and install these two items, and then we're going to install the CentOS 6.4. So let's get started doing that. So my downloads are finished. So I have VirtualBox plus the extension pack, and I also have CentOS 6.4, that ISO image that we will downloaded. And yeah, okay, fine, I lied. Okay, it's not finished. Actually, it has 1 hour and 16 minutes left, but I actually had it downloaded before. So of course you have to wait for yours, but I have the luxury of continuing on. So I will show you how to get started. So what we're going to do first is install VirtualBox. Now bear in mind, I already have VirtualBox installed, but this should be a newer version, so it might just be a little bit slightly different for you, because you most likely would be doing it from scratch. So I'm going to double click on the executable, and let's see what happens. Okay, so I will run it. So it's preparing to install. Alright, so I will click next, and let's see what's there. I'll click next again. I can leave those for now. Okay, I'm gonna click next. It's an interesting warning though. Hopefully this will not interfere with your current downloads. It says that it may actually cut you off from any network connections, but well, anyway, mine is finished, so I'm not worried. So let's proceed, and we could install, and let's see, it's probably going to take a few minutes. You know, sometimes when they say several minutes, it's several hours, but let's hope that's not the case. I guess it's really taking a few minutes. Okay, it started doing something. So it's checking the status. Okay, let's see, what does it say? Okay, so I guess it did interfere with the download we had running. So in your case, I guess you might want to not do this until you finish downloading your ISO image. So I'm still waiting for VirtualBox to update. So it's moving along smoothly for now. So if you got the error that just popped up with the ISO image, you just need to go back and restart that installation once you're finished installing VirtualBox. So this should be almost done. Alright, any minute soon it should be over. So it is really taking a few minutes. The version I think I had before was 4.2.12, so this definitely is an upgrade from what I had before, and I would assume that the extension pack also would be an upgrade as well, but I wouldn't know until it's actually finished and see exactly what is different. Okay, so it wants me to start installation, so I'm going to click finish, and I'm going to allow it to start up. Alright, so still had all the stuff I had before, so just upgraded first. So I'm going to close it, and I'm going to double click here to start up the expansion. So it says here that an older version of the expansion pack already exists. Would you like to upgrade? So I'm going to say yes. And if you're doing this for the first time, it should not tell you this. You will just go ahead and install the expansion pack. So I'm scrolling down so that I can agree to the license agreement. And it's installing and there it is, it's done. And that is simply it. So we have installed the Oracle VirtualBox For your fresh installation, you shouldn't see anything here on this side because you will not have any virtual machines created, but pretty soon you will have at least one that we will create in the next tutorial. And also we were able to install or in my case at least upgrade the extension pack. So let's go on to our next phase, which would be actually installing a virtual machine. So our next step is to create a Linux virtual machine. So I am back here at Oracle VirtualBox Manager, and to create a virtual machine is very simple. You can click on Machine and click New, or you can simply click on the New button here, and what we need to do is give it a name. So let's call this let's call it Linux underscore, let's call it Linux dash NS3. You can call it whatever you want. The type is indeed Linux. That's the type of operating system, and we're going to use Linux 2.6 as the version. So you can simply click next, and now you need to choose the amount of memory you want. So I'm going to choose 1 gig, so it's 1024 megabytes. And when you're choosing this value, you need to make sure it's not more than half of the total memory that your actual host machine or your real machine is actually using. On this machine, it has up to 5,120 megabytes of memory, so I'm well within my limits. So I can click next, and I'm going to create a virtual hard drive now. I'm going to just click next. I'm not going to change that. I'm going to create a virtual box this image, and I'm going to dynamically allocate the size. And what I want to change here though is the actual size of that hard drive. So I'm just going to bump it up to 16 gigs because usually 8 gigs is a little bit too small. And I'm going to click create, and there you have it. So what we have so far is a virtual machine that we have created. We have named it Linux-NS3, and once we have done that, we can now go ahead and actually just do some simple configuration on that virtual machine before we go ahead and install the operating system. So the first thing we need to do is go to System, alright. So I normally select this first feature here, and then you go to processor, and you need to definitely enable PAE. So once that's done, you're pretty much finished with the system. Next one I definitely do is the network. So this is my network adapter, so I'm going to take it off a NAT and put it onto bridge adapter, and this gives me access to my actual Ethernet card on the host machine. And just make sure that the cable is connected. And next we would do definitely would be storage. So what you need to do is click on this little CD looking thing here. Right now it says it's empty, because what we need to do, we need to point this to the ISO image that we actually downloaded. So I'm going to go over here on the little CD icon, and actually what I need to do first of all is actually mount it. I didn't mount it, so let me go back to the desktop first. So I'm going to right click on that ISO image. Now I would assume that you have something like Power ISO already set up on your machine. If you do not have that, you need to go and download it and install it. And once you have it up and running, you can mount that image to a drive. This is going to mount it to drive G. So now I can go back to VirtualBox Manager, and let me select host drive G. hopefully it picked it up. I suspect I may just have to just click OK, and let me go back in there again to make sure that it actually picked it up. Alright, so host drive G, and I think that should be it. So we would have configured the storage, the system, and the network. In another tutorial I will show you how to configure shared folders. So we can click OK at this point in time, and now we're just about ready to go ahead and install CentOS 6.4. Let's go ahead and install CentOS 6.4. So again, this is the virtual machine that we created, Linux-NS3. So what I want to do is go ahead and start that virtual machine. So I'm going to click on the start arrow up here, and it's starting it up. Alright, so I'm going to click enter to install. Alright, so I'm going to just click on the right arrow because I'm going to skip this step. I'm not going to bother to test the media or anything like that. I know my stuff is working already. You can feel free to do it if you want to. Just makes the installation a bit longer. So let me just blow this up a bit. Alright, so we now need to click next, and I can click next again unless you speak another language other than English. Click next again. Basic storage devices, that's cool. I can click next. So now it just warns me that I'm going to lose any data on my virtual drive. There's nothing there anyway, so I can say yes, discard any data. I'm just simply going to click next. I'm not going to change any of those default settings. I could just probably take it off a UTC. I don't know if you want to choose a particular region. Where are we? Is it Trinidad and Tobago in here? Let's see. That's a long way to go to find T. Actually, I guess it's not. It's probably by a particular region. But anyway, you can leave it on America/New York. I don't particularly change that anyway. That's probably some sort of time zone. But importantly here, you need to make sure that you choose a password. There's one time I was actually installing this operating system, and I actually forgot what the root password was. So I had to do it all over again. So don't suffer that same fate. So I'm just going to choose a password. Let's choose one. Let's use password, capital P ASSWORD 123, and we're going to enter it again, capital P ASSWORD 123, and click next. So it's telling us that that's a weak password, but we don't really care, so I'm going to use it anyway. And I'm going to just select here to use all the available space on that virtual drive, and click next. Right, we want to write the changes to disk, so it's creating our file system first. Alright, so importantly you need to click here and select desktop so that you get the desktop version, and we just simply click next. So it's checking some dependencies, and pretty soon it's going to start. Right, it's now installing the files. The installation process is starting. Alright, so in all there should be 1091 packages installed. So of course what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video here, and I'm going to come back closer towards the end because this will take a little while. So as soon as it gets to the end, I'll come back and we can continue the installation from there. Okay, so I'm back and it's almost finished. It's on 1062 of 1091 and it's just about completed. So let's wait for it to wrap up, and then there'll be one or two little things we have to do at the end. I think we have to create a username. So let's wait and see what happens next. Alright, so I guess it's keeping us in a little bit of suspense. And nothing wrong with a little excitement. So we'll just wait a little while longer. But don't worry, it is doing something. Alright, so it's finally wrapping up the installation. So it shouldn't be too much longer. Okay, so it tells us that congratulations, your CentOS installation is complete. So we need to reboot. Alright, so it's rebooting now. Going through the reboot process, and hopefully we should be presented with an opportunity to actually choose our username and password, I believe. Alright, so we'll click on forward. Yes, I agree to the license agreement. So let's choose our username. Let's choose our username, ns3. Full name. Yeah, installations. Let's do a password. Let's call this one admin123. Admin123. And let's click forward. Yeah, we're gonna use it anyway. Let's click forward again. Just click OK when that message comes up. Click finish. Alright, so we have we have the login screen, and what I'm going to do also, I'm going to, if you press the right control and C, you will be able to scale this screen. Alright, so now you can just maximize it. Alright, so it's actually sort of, well, not exactly full screen, but it's scaled to fit the window that you're in. And I can either log in here using the credentials I just created, or if I want I can log in as other and enter the root as username. And remember we had a root password of password 123, capital PASSWORD 123. Click enter, and it will now log us in as root. Alright, so we know we are running as root, so I normally just click, because I don't want to see that every time I log in as root. Click close. And there you have your Linux operating system. Alright, so you can see you have access to the file system. Alright, you can see different folders. Now, if you find this a little annoying, what you can do is you can go to edit, and you can go to preferences, and if you go to behavior, you can select always open in browser windows, click close, so that would prevent all those windows or separate windows keep opening. So if I were to just close this off, when I click on the file system here again, you can see it opens up differently. I have a sort of browser type scenario with back and forward. So if I were to go into the etc folder, alright, notice it doesn't open a separate window, and I can go back, or I can go forward. So as I navigate through the file system, I would actually be able to simply move back and forth just like on a regular browser window. So that's a real cool little feature there, and really saves you from having those annoying windows popping up all over the place. Alright, so this is basically our virtual machine that we created. So I can just customize it a little bit. If you right click on the bar up here, you can add the panel, and I like to add the shutdown icon here, so I can click add. I'll close that, and then on the panel below here I can add the panel, and I like to add one to give me back the desktop. That's the show desktop, so I can click add. Alright, so let's say I had opened up a folder, I can easily get back to the desktop. Alright, so I'll close this, and then of course you could right click here and change the background if you wish, and you have different themes. I like the glossy theme, so I tend to usually choose that one, and you can choose any background that you want, or you could download one from the internet. Alright, so if you, let's say you choose this one, and you can simply click close, and you have whatever background you so desire. So what I'm going to do now is simply going to shut down this virtual machine. Alright, I'm going to go back to my VirtualBox Manager, and of course you can see it just set it powered off, and at any time I want I can simply start back up the virtual machine and use it in whatever way I want. So in the next tutorial we'll actually show you how to install NS3 on a virtual machine, so we can get started with the rest of the tutorials, which actually show us how to use and develop programs in NS3. So I hope this video has been beneficial to you, and I hope you've enjoyed it, and that you are still interested in continuing in learning and using Network Simulator 3.